I woke up by the hustle of the leaves falling, trying hard to grab my attention. Oh, the magic of the autumn. All over the withered leaves were sprawling. Even the dead have beauty, I must not forget to mention, but it is the most hated union ever denied by immediate apprehension. The leaves still trying hard to grab my attention. Even the dead have beauty, I must not forget to mention. I wear my graceful bright scarf, asked him to meet me at the old scraggly wharf. As I wear my plain green tunic, the woods played a low percussive music. He felt sorry that he did not get me a flower. Autumn, it is my muse. It had no roses, no daffodils, no long-sought tulips.
Hello and welcome to Author to Author. I am your host Jasveer, and that was Mansi Narula. If that did not give you goosebumps, then probably nothing would. Mansi is an author and she is also an editor. She's going to talk about what writing means to her, and more importantly, she'll talk about some tips, do's and don'ts from the point of view of an editor for writers. That is very important. So we'll talk about that later. Mansi, welcome to the podcast.
Hi everyone. Hi Jasveer. Thank you for this opportunity, and I'm glad that I'm going to talk about a lot of things in this 30 minutes. And so writing is primarily the first thing that I do, but I also feel that editing is very, very important in whatever thing we write. That is the first thing that we need to talk about. But then writing first. Yes, I have written 2 novels, Erika and Hirayat. Of course, Erika is a thriller because it says Erika, a thriller. And it is the shortest thriller of 2020. And Hirayat is basically about poems about homesickness and a nostalgia about a place that we have visited in the past, or it talks about a home that might not exist in real life. So Hirayat is actually basically about a lot of emotions, about love, separation, and a home that we cannot go back to. So yeah.
Wonderful. So, when you say the shortest thriller of 2020, what do you mean? Is it a short story or is it a short book?
Yeah, it's a short book actually. And a lot of people ask me, a lot of my readers who have read Erika, they ask me that why such a short story? You could have elaborated the characters and made it like a proper novel of 40,000 words or something. It's just, Erika is just 20,000 words.
Okay.
And why I did that, there is a reason behind it, because in India, sometimes when we read thriller novels, we talk about different, like Paula Hawkins or other international writers, and we go gaga about their writing. Wow, that is like how they script a page or a scene. So I wanted to do something like that, but I wanted to make it very simple, and I wanted people of every genre to read that thriller, like a person who doesn't even read a novel, but if he reads, or if he or she reads Erika, he would be awed by the writing and he would be awed by the story. So that's what I wanted, and I didn't want people to get bored, because I didn't want to include unnecessary details about characters which were not needed in the story, and I did not want to drag the storyline just for the heck of it. So a short and sweet thriller, you will find everything in it: love, toxic relationships, friendship, family, some of course thrill, but some horror parts also, which might scare you, and some illusions and hallucinations, everything. So that's why I wanted everyone to read it. That's why it has to be short. So I always say that this is the shortest thriller of 2020.
And it's a cocktail of different themes, right? Horror, you said, thriller. So it's got a lot of different emotions. Yeah.
All right.
Yes,
So,
a lot of different emotions actually. A lot of readers who have read this, they say that it has everything, like you said, a cocktail of emotions. You
yeah.
know, when somebody is in love, somebody is out of love, friendships, living together, losing a family member, remembering them. Yeah,
Wonderful.
everything.
Wonderful. So, guys, Erika is available on Amazon. Grab your copy now. Right, Mansi, let's quickly dive into our discussion. Tell us something about Mansi the individual. Let's know something about your life.
Okay, so if you talk about me, I'm a very simple person, and I have done a corporate job for 10 years in different companies, starting with Convergys in Gurgaon, then moving on to Macmillan UK, Clifford Chance UK. I've worked with lawyers in UK, and I loved that part. Living in London, and so basically, when I wrote Erika, I depicted all the places which I visited in London because I love that city. Apart from writing, I play guitar, I sing. I'm basically a singer. And people say that I sing really well. So I try to do that sometimes. Apart from them, I'm a homemaker and I stay in Hyderabad with my family. Um, yeah, and I help a lot of writers. I try to help a lot of people in my life who come across my path. I try to help them in whatever way I can. Uh, some of the authors, I help them, monetarily also, and some of them with free editing services, because I feel that when a person writes a novel, it is actually his or her dream. So if you try to make that dream come true for someone, it gives you that kind of satisfaction, like as if you're writing your own novel. So I
Mhm.
try to do these kind of things. Apart from them, uh, nothing much. I try to connect with people as much as possible, because I think that age is no bar for friendships. And when you try to communicate with people who are just like you, or who share the same kind of thoughts, so it feels good. And right now, because it's difficult to be in a live environment, and sometimes I just think that it's very difficult to live in a virtual life like this. But really, you have to move on, and
Mhm.
you have to look for better times. So that's how I live my life, and that is me.
Right, so that was Mansi, uncensored and unscripted for you. She's a person with multiple talents, and what I liked about her personality is that she's helping a lot of authors. That is something that is close to my heart, as somebody who struggled, getting the first book published. And there are obvious issues, we all struggle with publishing houses, but then yeah, people like Mansi who are there to assist aspiring and new authors, that's a wonderful thing that you're doing. And tell our listeners, Mansi, how can they reach you? Is it through Instagram? How can they reach you?
Yeah, yeah, sure. I created my Instagram account, when I wrote my first book, because I thought that it is better to communicate with people and readers. So my
Mhm.
Instagram account is author Mansi underscore NK. And you can connect with me on Facebook with the same name, Mansi Narula Kashyap. And or people can email me. Sometimes they read my books, and I have my email ID on the back of my books, and they connect me and they say, hey, we want help with our next book. Can you read our story and let us know how do you feel about it? So my email ID is letuswritey with a double E at the end at gmail.com. Yeah.
Wonderful, thank you, Mansi. So what does writing mean to you? Why do you write?
Writing gives solace to my mind. So when I write, I think about a lot of things. I observe a lot of stuff around me, to see if my writing meets people's real life. If I go to a club, at night. So even if I don't drink, I sit there, at the bar and watch people. What are they doing? And I put them in my books without them knowing what I'm doing with them. So every time I do that, And I write because I want to see the characters, those characters which I meet every day, even if I don't meet and I see them every day, that are hidden around us. I want to write about them. I want to put them into my books. And I just try to write something different, but at the same time, I try to write very practical things. So writing means everything. It means getting out every emotion that is inside of you into the paper. And that is a great feeling. Yeah. Yeah, and when somebody reads my stories and when they email me and they say that we really relate to your stories, it made us cry. So that is, it gives you that kind of satisfaction. Yeah.
That is the best compliment for an author. I think author
Yeah.
or a poet or a storyteller, when people
True.
say that they can relate to the stories, the characters. And I think that's the way, that is the best way to make your writing easy. That's the best way to make your storytelling process easy. See, I use a lot of real characters, real people, real names in my stories. And I feel that that sort of makes my job as a writer very easy. And, but yeah, that was my writing process. Observing people, observing situations, and using them in my stories. And I think that kind of made my job as a storyteller very easy because I was using
Yeah.
real life incidents, real life people, real life situations. All right.
Exactly. So that is
Yeah.
how you have to write, because not always you have to make your readers happy. So
Exactly.
when people read Erika, they were some readers were not happy about the ending because they were expecting something good, but I gave them extremely different situation to handle. So a lot of people say that it is a cliffhanger and we want a sequel to it. Of course the sequel will come, but I want people to hang on there and think about it for a long,
Yeah.
long time. So that was, sometimes when you think differently, you write differently.
Truly, and that's the way to go with thrillers. You leave the audience asking and gasping for more.
More.
Uh, yeah, that's how thrillers sell. Wonderful. So we eagerly await for the next part of Erica.
True.
Um, right, Mansi. So, what is the earliest you remember that you wrote? When did you start writing, and what was it that you wrote for the first time?
I think I'm writing since I was like 8 or 9 years old, because at that time when I was in school, I used to read a lot of Shakespeare and John Keats or P.D. Shelley or all these classic writers, because my sister was doing her honors in English and I used to just grab her books and start reading. And I used to, read a lot of stuff like this Enid Blyton stories and Louis Samuel Cott and Charles Dickens. So at that time I started writing short stories, but I don't know where those papers are, because we shifted houses and many houses, and I don't know where those rough papers are, because there was no laptop at that time, no phones. So I think when I was 8 or 9 I started writing, as far as I remember. But if you talk about an actual novel, I actually started my own novel 7 years ago, and that novel is yet to come.
Wow.
It's still not released. Yeah. So hopefully it's releasing next month
Okay.
through another traditional publisher.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Okay.
Once I
Good.
wrote that, after that I started Erika and then Hirayat, and then I started Erika Part 2. It's midway, and then Hirayat Part 2, and then I'm still writing another Christmas story. It's a lot of things.
Yeah. So look forward to the next novel, which you said that is coming up in about a month's time.
Yes, yes. It's a
Wonderful. So
young
look forward
adult
to that.
one.
Young adult
Thank
one.
you.
Okay. Look forward to that. Right. So what inspired you to, start writing, or rather, what inspires you to write? Has it changed in some way over the years?
Yeah, of course. We always change. Like every 10 years, I guess, every 5 years, we change. Like the skin is peeling out of your body, and the new skin is coming the same way. Every time we write, there's something new. There's some new emotions coming out of your own soul. So the inspiration, if you talk about, like I said earlier, this world is enough for inspiration. Like anywhere you go, you learn, you observe. That's what writers do, and that's what I write. See, I told you before, because I worked with lawyers in London, so I lived there alone, and I went to places alone there, explored London, and I wrote everything about London in my book Erika. And so you can say that London was my inspiration, and I weaved a beautiful story, because the weather in London is cold and sometimes bitter in winters, and when you go in summers, it just transforms into a whole new city with people thronging to the parks, and there are acrobat happening in the parks, and the live shows around. So it's completely different. So I wanted to give a dark kind of a feeling to my book, so I chose the winter season. So that's how you get the inspiration, when you visit places. Even if you don't visit, you still have your imagination. For me, when I sleep, I try to think about these characters. So when I wrote Erika, it didn't let me sleep for months. Like, she came in my dreams, and I used to talk about her in my dreams. What should be the next scene? How she should react to that? So when I listened to music, then I thought that how Erika would like, what kind of music she would like. So that's how we writers work. They just capture our mind 24/7, the characters. And that's what happened with me with Erika. So I think the characters itself is an inspiration for a writer. So when you write about the name Erika, write about the character Erika, she will automatically give you the inspiration that this is me, Mansi, this is me. You write about me. Look at my face. How do I look? Right now, right. So that's what happens with me.
Your characters are your inspiration.
Of course.
Yeah. Okay. So what comes to you first, the plot or the characters?
It happens both ways, but majorly the characters. In most of my books, my characters came first, and then the plot. Okay. Because when you are going somewhere, you look for those characters. Like I told you, if you're going in a club and you're sitting, you're watching somebody, and she becomes a character for you, right? And then the plot comes later. Okay, because when you see a character, you see how her life would be. So you try to imagine. So if I haven't met a girl in a club, but I observe her, and I try to imagine what her life would be, how can I weave a story around it? But very rare, it is like the chicken and the egg situation. Who comes first, the chicken or the egg? So sometimes the plot comes first, and then you weave the characters. So, yeah.
I was about to say that, sometimes it totally depends upon the situation. Sometimes it could be the plot. Sometimes it could be the character that you like, or what, this is the character I'm going to weave my story around. This is an excellent character. Or, many times it could be the plot. You have a plot in mind and you develop characters around that plot.
Exactly. So for Erika Part 2, when I was writing, I just wrote the name of the characters first. So I chose 5-6 names, and then I put them into characters. Okay, this gonna be this gonna be this gonna be his friend, this gonna be the bartender. And I could imagine the bartender who is maybe a gay, and then this guy is hitting on the bartender, and what is his response? And then the story comes little later, that okay, then we can put some thrill in it and stuff like that. So for me, of course, the characters come first. They have to be strong. They have to speak through your ink.
True. So how did you come up with the title of your book?
Okay, let me talk about Erika. So when I wrote Erika, I was searching for a name that would suit the character. A girl who is lost, a girl who is beautiful in a way that, she looks a little, what do you call it? A sad kind of a beautiful, a beauty, whose eyes are sad, but she is so pretty. But whoever says that whoever looks at her, they would say that, oh, she has some sad eyes, and they can read that girl, easily. So maybe that girl could be vulnerable in a lot of ways, but yeah, she needs a lot of help. She needs a lot of friends. She needs the support of her family. So that kind of girl. So how do I name her? Maybe not very strong, not very common name from Hollywood or something. I wanted to give an international name because the story was set in London. So I thought, okay, Erika is suiting the girl with a little soft curls and beautiful eyes without makeup. And maybe she's lost. So that's how the cover also came into picture. And she is. I told the designer to put the half image of Erika, not the full face, and don't show any clothes or that shows her personality. Just show her face, and her lips should be full, not too much dark lipstick, not less, just perfect. And she is looking at the Westminster, that bridge, and she just feels lost. She's looking and she's not looking. So that's how I think about that name. And Hirayat, if you talk about, it depicts my character. Actually, I'm a very homesick kind of a person. I have changed places. I have been attached to places, since my childhood, whether it is my school or we've shifted houses or areas or cities. We've been to Philippines, US and London and Hyderabad, Delhi, Gurgaon. I feel so homesick. So I thought, what would I give a name for my book which has this emotion? So I learned a very beautiful, pretty word called Hirayat when I was reading about some Japanese poems. I thought, yes, here it is. The book name has to be Hirayat because it is about homesickness. It is about, that feeling when you visit a place and you say, oh my God, this is where I want to live. This is where my heart is. So this word, I think the title fits that kind of emotion perfectly. Yeah.
Wonderful. And I'm sure many readers would have come up to you and asked you, or they had to search through Google, what did Hirayat actually mean? Does that happen to you often, that people come and ask you what is the meaning? Because it's not a very common English word. It's a Welsh word, like you said. Yeah.
It's a Welsh word, yes. Yeah. And a lot of readers do come to me and say they might have searched the word in Google or somewhere, and then they tell me and they message me. They say that it is a very beautiful word. I mean, we love the cover, and we love the title. And a lot of the readers also tell me that they have to pick up a dictionary to read the poems, because in Erika, I used very simple language. Like I told you, the purpose was so that common person can also read Erika and feel good about a thriller. But in Hirayat, I actually used what my vocabulary is. So not a Shashi Tharoor types, but still a lot of readers gave a review that we had to use dictionary. So, which is okay, because poetry has to be written like that. And if you do not use certain kind of poetic words, then the meaning is lost. It just looks like a simple sentence. So I didn't want that to be, because I had that thing in me that, to write something really, really beautiful in poetic language. I think poetry is, writing poetry is it's become my innate nature, I think. I never knew that part existed in me. Yeah. So I'm happy that I wrote Hirayat.
Yeah. The person's language skills are exceptional when his name is associated with quality. Shashi Tharoor in this case. So you don't have to say anything. You just need to say Shashi Tharoor level of English, and people would understand, oh, okay, that's an exceptional level. And I can only dream of reaching that level one day.
You don't have to be, because everybody has a different level. So it's okay. Your stories should touch the readers. That's the first thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. And Hirayat, I'm sure, has touched a lot of emotional chords with people. So what part of the book did you have really the hard time writing? Let's start with Erika first.
Okay.
What was tough?
The horror part, because I don't watch horrors and thrillers, to be honest with you. I tell this to a lot of people that I don't watch any thrillers or horrors because I'm scared. And believe me, I wrote Erika.
Wow.
So yeah. So because see, I tell my authors also when I edit their manuscripts, I tell them, please do not watch Netflix before you write a novel. Do not just keep on watching series after series of thrillers and movies, because then your original ideas will not come into the book. So imagine an author like me who has not even seen a horror flick or maybe a thriller, except that I've seen just one thriller a long time ago. I don't even know, 20 years ago. So because that, the only reason is that then the originality gets killed and you don't get a good idea about, then you keep copying all the same things that you've seen in series, and that's what is happening with writers nowadays. So the worst part in Erika was the last scene where I had to show Erika in a mental asylum with some patients around her. So it was hard time for me to actually imagine that kind of scene, and what should I put in the script to make people think that this is, oh my God. I mean, readers should do like that when they read that scene. So it was very difficult. I changed it 6 times. I showed it to one of my friends just to see that if it works for him, and he just crossed it out. He said, this is rubbish. Don't do it. Don't overdo it, because it's a thriller. You're putting horror in it. So I changed it 6 times, and then I didn't show it to anyone, and I kept it a surprise. And people, when they read the last part, and they were like, "Oh my God, seriously?" So that's what I wanted, and I was successful in doing that. But it was very, very difficult to make it, work well. Yeah.
What about Hirayat? What was the most difficult part of writing Hirayat?
Hirayat was not at all difficult for me. Like I told you, it's become my innate nature, a second nature to write poems. And when I started writing Hirayat, I made a folder, and when I started, I didn't stop. I wrote for continuous 100 nights, 100 poems, 100 nights. And I did not change much of it. They are typically raw poems. I did not edit them much because I wanted them to be that way, So yeah, the only difficult part was that in some of the poems, it just it's too much emotions. So it made me really emotional. That was hard. It was hard to write, and sometimes I had tears writing some of the poems. So yeah, emotionally it was challenging for me.
Right. So let's look at your writing process. What is it that you require in your writing space? What kind of setup do you require?
I need a quiet time, first of all, because I cannot write when everybody is around, walking around, or maybe doing something. I want everybody to be like a wax statue in a Madame Tussauds museum. Yeah. So that's how I want. So quiet time and lots of blue flower tea. So that gives, I don't take caffeine because when I try to write, I don't want that that I should, I just want to sleep after that. I don't want the characters to haunt me when I sleep. So I hardly take coffee. So a lot of flower tea, and sometimes when I wrote Erika and tried to imagine her character, I used to listen to a lot of music. And when I listen to music, like you can say Demi Lovato or maybe Marshmello or these kind of music. So I try to imagine their kind of life there. And so I put that into my book sometimes. So actually music, being a singer and a guitarist, music always inspires me to write. So I cannot say no to music. So little music when I write, and little flower tea, and just quiet time. It helps me focus. And I feel very motivated, to write when I listen to my kind of music. Yeah, it peps me up.
Yeah, music stimulates parts of your brain, which are
Mm-hmm.
inactive usually. So music does impact the writing process. Uh, right. So, in terms of the writing process, the entire writing process, we know what you require in the space. So, what kind of a writer are you? Are you a very disciplined writer, who says, you know what, no, I have to write every day, or you set targets for yourself? What kind of a writer are you?
I don't think so. You have to really target, your writing numbers
Hmm.
when you've crossed a certain age. Yeah, because you really have to cook. You really have to take care of your family. You really have to take care of yourself, your sleep, everything. Because if I sacrifice my sleep for a long time, I'll be dead. Maybe I'll fall sick. I'm not in my teenage days that I can really write all day long or all night long. No. So it depends. How old are you? Actually, I know it's a funny answer, but it is actually true. So I don't really want to mess up with this answer just for the sake of it. I just want to be very truthful that as you grow up, you really want to have convenience in life. So if you want to write by the beach, do that. And if you want to write once in 20 days, do that. Whatever you feel is good. Because if you want to complete a book in 20 days, it's going to be crap. Believe me.
I know.
So, yeah.
You can't push the ideas out, either they are there or they're not there. Yeah,
Yeah, sometimes the characters get lost out of they
exactly.
just go out of your mind, and then you have to really go out, take out your car, and probably visit a couple of places, and then observe more people, and go back
Yeah.
at night and write something, and then it's done.
Yeah, there could be
Yeah.
days when I'm writing continuously, and there could be days, even weeks, when nothing is coming out. So,
Mm-hmm.
that's totally dependent upon the time, the mood, the setting, how it
The
goes.
setting, and
Truly
and
agree.
of course the time, yeah. And because when I
Exactly.
wrote Erika, I wrote between 3 a.m. to 5 p.m., 5 a.m. every night, every night,
Yeah.
every day. Yeah,
Wow.
3 a.m.
Not
to
bad.
5 a.m. Yeah, because that was the spookiest time of the night, and I used to get jitters when I used to write those mysterious scenes, but it was fun. Yeah, I couldn't have written those scenes during the daytime. The feeling
Yeah.
won't come. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hmm.
Depends upon the setting, depends upon the situation. Right. So, Mansi, which writers have inspired you? What does Mansi read when she's not writing or editing?
My favorite author is Elif Shaffer. She's a Turkish writer, and I've read a couple of her books, and I find her really inspiring. And Khalid Hosseini, of course. All of my family members, they like Khalid Hosseini's books, and he's one hell of a storyteller. I mean, even if he writes, like, his books are thick, if you've seen it or read it, and they are very interesting, the way he portrays the setting, even if it's the book is set up in Afghanistan. Oh, you can imagine
Yeah.
yourself being in Afghanistan, in that little village, and the characters, oh my god, he inspires me. And there's one Japanese writer, Murakami. I
Mm-hmm.
read his novels, and he's a very popular writer. So he's a good storyteller. I also read him a lot. And I read a lot of Rumi and Shams Tabriz. Yeah, they are Persian poets. They inspired me to read more of the Sufism. And I don't like to read love stories, especially Indian love stories, because they are too perfect for me. And I think these kind of settings don't exist in real life. So if you do not
Yeah.
show struggle, if you do not show, the learnings, then the love story doesn't matter to me, because, I don't pick up those kind of things. that's how I like Elif Shafak, because the kind of story she writes, it's like amazing, amazing. You should
Truly,
read. Everybody should read. Yeah.
truly,
And then
truly.
I feel John Green. A lot of teenagers nowadays are gaga about John Green, but I find him a little overhyped. I'm sorry, but yeah, okay, good for teenagers. I
Hmm.
like classics very much because being a 90s girl, I like reading classics which are like true to reality. Like if you read The Mill on the Floss, oh my God, such a nice story set around 70s in the Victorian era. Or if you read Sense and Sensibility, beautiful. I mean, seriously, these kind of stories really people should read. All the writers who are new writers, they should read these stories before they actually pen down their own stories. They'll get so much of inspiration from them. Yeah.
Hmm.
And one series which I really liked, the book series was 50 Shades of Grey. I loved it. Yeah, I finished that 3 book series set in like less than a month, I guess.
What do you
So
think of
yeah,
the movie adaptation? What do you think? Is
it
it
was.
good,
If you talk
horrible?
about, no, not horrible, because Christian Grey was like very good. And some of the scenes I really like. If you pick up some scenes like the helicopter scene and the Seattle skyline from their apartment, and little scenes like the songs, of course, by this Jonas, what do you call, bomb diggy diggy bomb. So it
Hmm.
just peps up the characters, but
Yeah.
it could have been better, because the
Okay.
books are, of course, they give you so much. A 1.5 hours movie will not
Yeah.
give it, yeah, do justice
Exactly.
to it.
That brings me to a hypothetical question for you. What if
Okay.
your books are made into a movie? Which actors would play your characters?
Yeah, I've already imagined that.
Yeah.
Uh, I think. Let me think about it. For Erika, if you talk about, if I'm the casting director, I would take Natalie Portman,
Wow.
because the kind of chiseled features that she has, and the way she speaks, the perfect kind of the teeth, she has when she smiles, and her hairstyle. So it would actually suit Erica's character. And Erica's best friend in the book, Lara, would be Jennifer Aniston, because
Wow.
she speaks fast, very fast, and she is like, okay, come on, chill out, babe, chill out, please, let's go out and chuck this guy, and let's go out for a different guy. Come on, install Tinder on your, on your phone, and do that and this. So I think about these Jennifer Aniston in Friends,
Wow. So
and so
Natalie Portman and Jennifer Aniston together in a movie, that's a combo to watch for.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't
Okay.
know how it would be, because
Yeah.
Erica would be the main character. And of course, Lara also has her part. She's not a side character or something. Of course, she is also a very, very important character in the book. So, of course, that's why Jennifer Aniston. And of course, the Ethan would be Zayn Malik. I'm actually biased towards that guy because I know he's a singer, songwriter, whatever, but not an actor. But I would definitely pitch him.
Okay.
Yeah, because of personal
Wonderful.
liking.
That is an amazing cast to watch out for. Any
And for
casting directors
Hirayat,
listening? Yeah. For
Hirayat,
Hirayat, yeah.
because it's a story set in a village. So I didn't tell you this before. Hirayat is a set of 100 poems, but it is in the form of a story. So when you will read Hirayat, if you get a chance to read in the future, you will think that, okay, it is a story which starts with love, and then separation, and then hopelessness, and then, you know maybe something about death or something. So it is like a story. So it is set in a village, maybe in a hilly area. So some old characters would be there, so not any foreigners, maybe some Indian, maybe somebody with a beard, I'm not sure, who is very, very serious looking. Irfan Khan, maybe. I
Wow.
don't know. Yeah. And that girl who was there in in the movie with her. I don't know her name. Shama, something like that. I don't know that movie. What was this school movie? I don't remember. Anyway, yeah. So
Okay.
Irfan Khan would be the main character. Yeah.
Okay. God bless his soul.
Yeah,
We can only
actually, he was a
imagine
very
him in
good.
the role. But I mean, he was an amazing actor. I loved him in Namesake.
Amazing.
Yeah, he was truly
And
one global
Lunchbox.
actor. Yeah, Lunchbox
Yeah.
was amazing as well. He was truly one
Amazing.
global actor that India had produced, and we lost it
Yes.
way too soon. Yeah, but
Too soon.
amazing, amazing. Hypothetical cast. I love it, and
Thank
I
you.
look forward
Thank
to
you.
the movie. Right, Mansi, you've written so much, you've edited so much, you work with authors so much. So, what is that
Hmm.
one message that you wish to give? If you had one message for aspiring and young authors.
A very important message I want to give to whoever is listening, the young and aspiring authors of India and abroad. I have seen so many scripts. I mean, a lot of people message me and they email me their scripts and I read them. If there is no essence in your story, it is zilch, it is zero. So don't just try to write just for the sake of writing. Keep writing, but do get your manuscripts edited. I'm not saying this because I'm an editor, but editing is very important. 10 years from now or 20 years from now, if your published work is read by your kids, by any chance, if they point out your mistakes, or if they think that, Papa, what you have written, or Mama, what you have written, this is crap, because the kind of education that they're gonna get after 20 years will make a lot of difference to what you have written today. So write
Exactly.
well.
Yeah.
Editing, do not miss this process of editing. Do not miss this. Publishing is very, very easy. I can tell you on a call, 5 minutes, I can get your books published. Anybody can. You can throw money out to the publishers and they will publish it. Publishing means printing. Just understand that. It is just putting your thoughts in on paper. Anybody, any machine can also do that. So you have to think about editing. Please write with your heart and think differently. And very, very important point, do not watch Netflix and write books. There was one manuscript, I do not want to name the writer. Poor guy wrote a mix of Narcos, Roman
Wow.
Empire, and anime. What is this animated thing which is going on with the teenagers nowadays?
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
a mix of some other, I don't know, Money Heist or something. So
Yeah.
he wrote a mix of everything and just published the book. And when I edited, I just refused it. I said, I'm not going to edit this story. Please take it to somebody else. Do not
Be
write.
original. I think be original, that's the key word.
See, yeah, because you're writing for your
Yeah.
country also, right? You're
Exactly.
writing for,
Exactly.
and I have met so many writers whom I have, worked with. They just wanted to become writers because they wanted to prove to their family that they could do something. Never do
Yep.
that. Never do that. One book doesn't make you a writer. Your writing, your stories make you a writer.
Yeah, yeah, truly, truly. And stories not only in the form of book, but different formats. You could be writing and publishing online, it could be blog, it could be anything. Uh,
Hmm.
yeah, so I think wise words for young and aspiring authors. Thank you so much, Mansi. Let's
Thank
quickly
you.
talk about your future projects. We know one of your book is coming up next month. Anytime soon,
Yeah.
we'll be, reading Erika Part 2 or any other book.
I have, actually, I have written Erika's part two. I've already done 5 chapters, and then 7, 8 projects, editing projects came my way, and there was a deadline, and I thought I would finish them off, and then maybe when my mind is a little free from these editing things, then I'll probably resume Erika again. So hopefully December, because half of it is done, and I really want to make my readers happy this time for writing a full-fledged novel of maybe 40,000 words. So people should be happy. Okay, they wanted more out of Erika. So of course I'll not drag the story. I will not write any unnecessary things, but definitely it will be a different setting, not in London, maybe Bangkok or other 2-3 cities, and different characters, and you will love it. So Erika 2, Hirayat's second edition is coming just now, maybe in another 2 weeks. So
Wow.
I have
Okay.
added some of the poems and some illustrations, so that it's a visual treat for the readers, because a lot of people said that if you add some illustrations, it will be good for to imagine that kind of a scenario what you're writing. So I thought I'll add
Wonderful.
that. Yeah. And then this book which I'm talking about is coming in March end, is a young adult fiction. I have written about some experiences of school life. It's a story about 5-6 teenage boys and girls, starting from the first day of the school till the farewell party. So it's going to be a very fun thing to read that book, like really fun. And it's also got a lot of emotions, like relationships, parenting, drug abuse, drinking and driving, parties and farewells and proms and heartbreaks, you name it. Yeah, so I'm really excited because I wrote this book 7 years ago, and I'm excited for this one. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure the readers are waiting for more work from you. All the best for your future projects.
Thank you.
And that was a lovely conversation, Mansi. Thank you so much for taking time out to be with us.
Most welcome. It was a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you so much. So, guys, that
Yeah.
was author Mansi. I have actually nicknamed her Miss Publication. So, get in touch with her for any publishing needs. She's always there to help young and aspiring authors. Connect with her on Instagram or Facebook. Mansi is the kind of individual who would go out of the way to help young and aspiring authors. So, feel free to get in touch with her on Instagram or Facebook. Thank you so much for taking time out to listen to her. And I'll get back to you with another guest very soon. Till that time, take care and have a good day. Thank you.